afternoon. We're going to get things started. We would like to welcome Billy Horschel and Sam Burns to the Zurich Classic of New Orleans Media Center. Billy, Sam, welcome back. Billy, two-time champ, and Sam, Louisiana native. So we'll get some opening comments on what it's like to be back at one of your favorite stops on the season. Start off with you, Billy.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've talked about it for a decade plus. This feels like a second home to me. I come back here and I see a lot of familiar faces that have become friends of mine. Obviously being part of the Zurich family, seeing a lot of the Zurich clients and customers and some of the Zurich execs as well. So such a great week. I enjoy it. The food's unbelievable, as we all know, and it's always good vibes here. And I'm relying on all those good vibes from years past to sort of spark my game this week.
Yeah, the Zurich, I came and watched this event as a kid. It's the only PGA Tour event in my home state, so I love coming back here. It's one of my favorite places to come back and play. Still have a lot of friends down here from my time at LSU, and I also have a great partner, so that helps. But yeah, it's one of my favorite weeks for sure.
Sam, going off of coming here as a child, are there any specific memories you have or any players you remember from attending as a fan?
Yeah, actually, forget what year it was, but I came with David Toms and his family, stayed with them for the whole week. So that was really cool for me growing up, just being with them and kind of having, getting to go like in the locker room and behind the scenes and just kind of see what it was like, and it was a blast.
Runner-up finish last year. How soon did this become a lock on your schedule next year, and especially as partners?
I mean, I don't think it was anything but a lock. I mean, it's a tournament that I love very much, and I love coming here, and I've had success here. And obviously, Sam being a Louisiana native, only tournament in Louisiana, as he said, he's surely not going to miss it. And I think after playing 5 holes the first year together, I think we said we're not splitting the band up anytime soon. And he said I'm his partner, even if he has to push me around the wheelchair in the decades to come. So.
All right, we'll go and open up with questions. We're going to start off here in the back with Paul.
Hey guys, since you were last here, you were on the President's Cup team together, played a match there. Just can you kind of reflect on what that week meant to both of you and how much fun it was to be paired together in that environment as well?
Yeah, first team event for me, first for Billy as well. So it was cool to experience that together, and that was such a fun week, and had an incredible team. Going on to win and getting to celebrate with all the guys was a blast. So yeah, it's cool to come back here and get to play with a partner, something we don't get to do very often. So it's a fun week.
Yeah, like Sam said, I mean, for me, he's 10 years younger than me, so there's my opportunity to make teams in the future is running out, and so to finally make one was huge. Was finally sort of one of those things I wanted to check off, the things I've done at the professional level, and then finally get to play with him. I mean, listen, him and Scotty are really good friends. They've known each other for a long time, and the stats guys there said, pair them up as much as you can. And but I mean, I was sort of, trying to beg as much as I can to play with him as many opportunities as I could, because I know, the chemistry you have, the way we play together, whether it's in a 4-ball or horseman format, I think we just do really well together. So to experience it with him, someone that I've experienced some really great memories here, but also do it there on the President's Cup team. I tell people, I said the golf part was great, but everything that led up to the first round and just stuff after the rounds, back at the hotel, like that went by way too quick. That could have lasted another 2 or 3 weeks, and I still don't think I would have got my fair share of it. I wouldn't have been tired of it, because I enjoyed spending so much time around the other players, the captains, their wives and family. It was really, like I said, it was really nice to finally be a part of that and see what it was like on the inside instead of hearing from it on the outside.
Sticking over here in the back.
Billy, before the tournament last year, you talked a little bit about how you were a boisterous one or a flamboyant one maybe, and Sam was quiet. After 8 rounds here together and then one in President's Cup, are you starting to get some of that out of him?
No, we've sort of just switched roles now. He's
getting old. I mean, he's kind of, temperament's kind of, going down.
I don't have as much energy anymore as a 26-year-old. So, I mean, I've got to sort of conserve the energy I have on a daily basis. So, listen, I think as anything, as you mature, you get, you grow as a person, you grow as a golfer, you learn things, you learn how to handle situations and everything. And I think, now, I mean, it's funny when things do happen on the golf course, it's just hysterical to me that, the one time I get a little upset, sometimes it makes around in social media and like, here's Billy is again. I'm like, man, you guys haven't seen me for the last 2 months. Someone would say that, I've been like an angel, haven't been upset, whatever. And the one time I get frustrated and show something, it's oh, here is Billy again. And it doesn't bother me. It's just funny because obviously I set a precedent early in my career and I understand it completely. So, like I said, I mean, I'm 36 years old. I'm getting older, and I understand how to get myself focused, and when I need to kick myself in the butt and get myself going again.
Billy, obviously you followed this up with a Memorial win last year, but you said you wanted to spark your game. How would you kind of describe where you're at, maybe why things haven't been going how you'd hoped this year?
Yeah, it's been a very frustrating year. Talked to my team last week after, being in a good position after 2 days and then to miss that cut. It's probably the most frustrating and I would say the biggest struggle I've had, I feel like, in my 14, 15 years as a professional. Listen, the stats don't lie. I haven't hit the ball very well, and most of it's been iron play. I didn't drive it very well in the beginning of the year. We tried to make some changes in the off season, and I talked about that, and it just didn't materialize the way we thought. And so for the last 2 months, we've sort of been making progress, and we know what we need to do. But it's been a strange year for me, and it's been a strange part of my career because coming off playing some really good the last couple of years, playing some good golf, and expecting to honestly take to the next level, push to get inside the top 10, push to try and get into maybe inside the top 5 if I play really well, get myself in more contention on a regular basis. And listen, it's been a struggle. There's no doubt about it. And I can't sit here and not lie and say, has my confidence been shaken a little bit? Yeah. I mean, I'm not as confident right now in my game as I was at this point last year. And so, but there's good signs. There's stuff I'm doing well in practice, and there's still some bad swings here and there. I think we're closer to. We understand why we're doing. We just have, we was trying to figure out what we always need to do to figure it out. And I hopefully what we did after Friday's round last week, is, the sort of the final puzzle piece. I really don't know until I get into a little bit more of a heated competition. But, it's been a grind. I've worked really hard this year. I've put, not that I don't ever work hard, but I've sort of been more consistent and put in more time to try and, like I said, compete with the young guys, compete with Sam, make sure that, I'm in a position on a weekly basis to battle with the best players in the world. And, when you put in that much time and effort and you're not getting any results out of it, it wears on you a little bit. But like I said, I mean, maybe confidence may be shaken a little bit in my game right now, but determination and the belief in myself hasn't changed. I know, how good of a player I am. I know what I can do, and I just got to, keep grinding away at it until things start coming my way.
Sam, it feels like a lot of top players congregate in some of the same areas, Vegas, Jupiter, things of that nature. You've chosen to stay here. I'm just wondering if you can explain what this area and Louisiana mean to you.
Yeah, I think, for me, this is home. I don't really have a desire to go anywhere else. I have a lot of family in Louisiana. My wife's from here. And I just enjoy it. I love coming back, to where we live, and it's very relaxing. We get to go to a lot of cool places on the road and see a lot of big cities, but I don't really have a desire to live in one. So we just really enjoy it. We like the slower pace, and yeah.
Sam, what's the biggest thing you learned from David Toms?
I think, I was always able to ask him a lot of questions, and he was very gracious with his time and answering them. I think one of the biggest pieces of advice that he gave me when I first got out here, and it's kind of always stuck with me, is, don't try to be someone that you aren't. Don't try to play golf, like someone else you see. Just, stick to what you're really good at and try to continue to make it better. And I think I've definitely struggled with that at times, trying to do too much or trying to, swing the club a certain way or, hit certain shots that don't necessarily kind of match up with my golf swing or identity, of the typical shots that I hit. So I would say just trying to focus on, making little, things in my game better, and then just, stick to kind of what I do well.
Billy, do you worry about losing your spot here to Scotty Scheffler, and how would you describe their relationship?
No, I mean, listen, if Sam said him and Scotty wanted to play together 1 year, I'm fine with that. Listen, I'm not going to be sad. I'm going to be sad about it, but I'm not going to be, a hard ass or jealous. I understand the relationship that they have. They're best friends, and they grew up together playing a lot of junior golf. They stayed together a lot on a weekly basis. So, I would say, hey, understand. I would want to play with one of my best buddies at some point in time, and I'd be like, hey, I'm always ready to team up again, next year or future years if you want to get the band back together. So, yeah, it's like I said, if he came to me and asked, I wouldn't put up a fight at all.
Does the PGA Tour have a pace of play problem? And if so, what's your solution?
We've had a pace of play problem since I've been out here. I mean, it's been out here, for a long time. There's no doubt about it. I mean, I don't think we should ever take more than 5 hours to play, on Thursday and Friday unless conditions or the course is, one of the more challenging courses out there. In my years out here, I think what I've seen is that guys just aren't ready to play when it's their turn. Simple as that. I mean, people will talk about using rangefinders. I'm like, that's not the cause of it. Caddies do a really good job of getting yardage, walking it off as they're walking to the ball. It's never the caddy's fault. Majority of times, or every time, it seems like the player just not ready to play. Situations like being on a par 3 in the first hit and, the green hasn't cleared yet, and then finally clears, and then they just now start talking to the caddy about the yardage and the wind and the club and everything. I think what you see between Sam and I is majority of the time we have a club out waiting to go when it's our turn. We're ready to play when it's our turn. We're ready to play when the green is waiting for the green to clear. So what's the solution? I don't know. I mean, we've increased fines. We haven't fined anyone or penalized anyone a shot. We haven't taken away any FedEx Cup points. Listen, it's frustrating because I think Sam and I are both quick players, and throughout the years when you're playing and you sort of want to get in a rhythm and a flow of your game, and you have to wait. You have to wait 20 minutes to hit a shot, or 15 minutes. I mean, it was similar this year at Players Championship second round. I came out, I birdied the first hole. Yes, it's only the first hole, but it was a nice little rhythm, and you go to number 2, and the group of Rory McIlroy was in front of us waiting to tee off, and we had to wait 25 minutes to hit our tee shots, and it was just a slow round of golf, and it's tough to get in a really good rhythm, especially for me right now, because I'm sort of working on something that when I do find that little rhythm, I want that little rhythm and that swing to keep going, and then when you got to wait, you sort of gets you out of your rhythm and your sort of feels that you have. So yeah, I don't know what the solution is. It surely is not going to be solved in my, time on the PGA Tour. So, we're just still going to have to deal with it. And I think, just trying to walk. I've tried to walk slower to my ball and just do a few other things to, not to give myself a little bit, try to play within a rhythm. Not rush to the ball and be prepared as quickly, because it really doesn't make a difference, which sounds bad, because it does. We should be playing quickly, and I should be playing within the rhythm and the pace that I like to play with, but it's tough when you see other guys take a lot longer. I played with a guy last week that took, I would say some excessive time on shots that when he was his second or third to play, and I just don't understand that sometimes.
For both players, obviously there's a lot of talk about what the tour schedule is going to look like in the future with these elevated events and everything. Where do you both feel like a tournament like the Zurich, where its place is on the tour, tournament like the Byron Nelson that you've won, Billy, a tournament like the Valspar where you've won, Sam, because they can't all be elevated events and majors, although they're there's a possibility the elevated events may float around some of them.
Listen, I've talked about this in the past, and I've talked to the tour for many years about this. We have an unbelievable product on the PGA Tour, but I felt like our product going forward, needed to evolve, needed to change a little bit. I didn't know what that evolvement was. I mean, I had some thoughts, but when you look at what sponsors are paying, and before the designated events got talked about, let's just go back 3 years. Listen, the number was going to keep increasing as the years went by, as the decades went by, and there was at some point in time where that number that sponsors were paying, they weren't going to get their rate of return. They weren't going to get their investment back out of it. And when you're going ahead and paying $12 million 1 year, and then 5 years later it's going to be $19 million, what are you getting for $5 million more? What else are you getting? For that value. And so obviously the tour wasn't like I brought anything to the tour that they didn't know, but I was sort of trying to, in my own understanding, what the tour's idea was and the product was. And we've made some changes because of LIV. There's no doubt. You have to admit that some of the things we've done and counter is because of the effect of LIV. But I think it was at some point over the course of the history of the PGA Tour, I think the top players would have gotten together at some point to say, hey, we need to change some things up out here. And so now we're in a designated and non-designated tournaments. I think the non-designated events are going to hold their own. I think this one's a great example. This one's a great field. You've got players always wanting to play together. It's unique. And so how this is all going to play out, it's sort of still a wait and see game. And is it going to be successful? Once again, it's a wait and see game. It's going to be, 2, 3, 4 years of us doing this to see if it was the best thing for the PGA Tour and the product going forward. But I think, for the guys coming up and for anybody on the PGA Tour and the Korn Ferry guys, anyone trying to has aspirations to make it to the PGA Tour, the great thing is if you play really well, you're going to get financially rewarded. And you're going to be beating and competing against the best players in the world on somewhat of a more regular basis. So sort of in a financial sense, if you play well, you're going to get rewarded, which is the way it's always been out here, but now it's even more to an nth degree. And I think it's an exciting time on the PGA Tour in my own, in my eyes. Designated, non-designated events. What do you think of schedule?
I think I don't really know where these events will fall. Around the designated events, I haven't seen that. But I think, like Billy was saying, I mean, each event, certain guys like for certain reasons. Whether it's me in Tampa, I really like that golf course, and so I'll always try to play that event, whether depending on where it falls. But an event like this, it's unique. It's something fun for us that we don't get to do very often. So guys will definitely try and come and play this event. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see kind of how it plays out over the next few years.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions we have. Billy, Sam, thanks for taking the time to join us. Good
Thank
luck
you
this
all.
week.